So a few days ago, I was browsing my subscription box and I found this video from Shika's Cloud that was titled Lovers vs. Haters, and it was not the video that I expected. It was a very funny video. He sort of reacted to the second trailer of Shinobi Striker as a lover of the game and then as a hater of the game. And even though I found the video very entertaining, going in, I was expecting some sort of discussion because the message around Shinobi Striker is very mixed, but very few comments about it are positive. Some people judging purely on the visuals say the game is crap, and others say that as long as it isn't the Storm games, then it's okay with them. Which I guess is a weird way to praise a game, but we'll get to that later. So that's what I wanted to do today, break down both sides that make good points, but like all discussions on the internet, they're unable to recognize the opposing side's arguments, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. Here are the arguments for and against Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. Counting down from number 6, let's start with the graphics. There's no argument here, the graphics don't look great, especially faces. The faces look terrible and emotionless and just stone cold. It's not that the game looks bad, it looks a little bit outdated, and that is especially noticeable coming out of Storm 4, which was one of the best looking anime games of all time. Now obviously graphics aren't everything, but for some people they're really important, and it's always the first impression. You look at a game and you immediately go, wow, this looks amazing, I want to get my hands on it, or this doesn't look great, maybe it plays great. Some people are trying to give it a second chance, while the haters are just dismissing it right away, purely on graphics, and that's a bit too harsh, I think, though feel free to criticize the graphics because they don't look good. I don't think anyone can defend this game's visuals. Number 5. This is not Storm, and this is an argument a lot of people are using in favor of this game because they're tired of the Storm 4 gameplay, they're tired of the button mashy nature of it. In my opinion, that's a very shitty argument because that's assuming that everything that's not the Storm games is gonna be good. Now, you either haven't played other Naruto games or your memory is very bad because they've done some terrible things before Storm. Now, personally, I didn't like too much when they went from Ultimate Ninja, the 2D fighters, to the Storm games, which were 3D. I got used to the combats, but the story mode was really what pulled me in, and that's the main reason why I enjoyed the Storm games. And I get the feeling that people have when they say, oh, it's not Storm finally, because yeah, we needed something new. We needed to do something new with the Naruto gameplay, and it's easy to become frustrated if you don't like the Storm games, the core gameplay mechanics, and they just kept putting them out. I can see people becoming frustrated with that, but not being Storm isn't necessarily a good thing, so that's just a very bad argument to defend Shinobi Striker. Number 4, it's multiplayer only. Speaking of the Storm game, Storm 4's story mode was really strong, and suddenly there's nothing? It's a multiplayer focused game? It's co-op and PvP only? Well, that's obviously gonna turn off a lot of players, because a lot of people went into the Storm games to play the single player and not really touch the multiplayer at all, so you're already alienating a big part of your audience. But what's more concerning to me on this point is that the Naruto games don't have a great track record as far as multiplayer goes. They're a fighting game that uses peer-to-peer connections, so if you're not the server, you can very easily be completely screwed by your opponent's connection. And what's worse is that that type of connection makes it very easy to cheat on a fighting game. If you have a lag switch, then you've pretty much won every single match. Now, that can be overlooked, kind of. I mean, I criticize that heavily on the Storm games because they never fixed it. But if you're making a multiplayer only game, then that cannot be an issue. Now, this is a different developer, this is a different team that's working on this game. Hopefully they have that figured out. But the thing is, we look at multiplayer Naruto games and we're not inspired by any of it. So immediately we're like taken aback and be, oh, hopefully they get this right. Number 3, wall fighting. Now, the Storm games had two major features that were requested over and over and never added to the game. Those were wall fighting and jutsu clashes. Now, the first Storm game did have wall fighting. It was a bit clunky, so they removed it in the next games. They never added it back except in the story mode for Storm 4. But you still couldn't do it in multiplayer, and that's where people wanted to do it. It's a big thing on the Naruto anime, and people just wanted to be able to fight on walls. It's sort of a unique thing if you think about it. Not too many properties lend themselves to wall fighting, and it was a nice thing for them to take advantage of if they could do it. Now, my guess why they never did it was a question of balance. It would be kind of hard to balance a multiplayer game with wall fighting. It seemed very easy to break from a competitive sense, but that problem seems to be fixed now that the game is 4v4 team based, so hopefully they get it right. Yes, I do think this is a huge argument in favor, because Naruto fans have wanted this for a long time, and now that they have it, some people are still like, the graphics look terrible. Well, dude, come on, you've been asking for this for ages. If the wall fighting is any good in Shinobi Striker, then yes, this is a major argument in favor of the game. Number 2, there's no Boruto yet. This bothers me a lot. Boruto is in the title. We haven't seen any Boruto characters yet. We've had 12 confirmed characters so far. They're all Naruto Shippuden characters. All of them we've seen before on the Storm games. They're repeated characters that we've played as before. And people want some brand new characters. You don't believe me? Check out this card. We made a video on the most wanted characters for Shinobi Striker. Just click the card, watch the video. What I see here is a developer who's scared to dive into Boruto because they don't know if Boruto will be as popular as Naruto was. So they fall back into safe territory at the popular Naruto series. But at the same time, I feel that by doing that, they run the risk of feeling outdated. It feels like the Naruto universe is moving on to the next generation, and this game is stuck in the past. Obviously, we don't have the full roster yet, but the way they've been announcing characters, it seems that it's going to be very Shippuden heavy. And to me, that's a major argument against it. And at number 1, the it's alpha or beta or it's only 40% done or whatever argument. I hate this excuse from the Shinobi Striker apologists. It's too soon because it's in development, it's only 40% done. I mean, that's obvious. Everyone who's complaining knows about that, but they just don't like the direction this game is going anyway. Now, I don't think it's right to dismiss this game entirely based solely on the stuff that we've seen so far. But you can and you should 100% criticize what you see even if the game isn't finished yet. Now is the right time to complain because the game's still being developed. There are small changes or big changes that can be done now that the developers won't be able to do them once the game is out. So everyone who's dismissing your criticism by saying the game's not done or it's not complete, they're total idiots. Because think about it, if you can get hyped for a game based on a trailer, then you can totally become disappointed based on the same trailer. It's totally justifiable. So please, if you're one of those people, just stop using this excuse to shut out criticism. And those were some pros and cons, some stuff that the Naruto lovers say versus some stuff that the Naruto haters say. And just like Chica's Clouds, I'm gonna close my video with my opinion. I think I've been doing that this entire video though. I think there's a path for this game to be successful. Now, I don't like using Overwatch as an example too much because I know a lot of people came from TGN because they were tired of hearing us talk about Overwatch, but it's a perfect example to fit in this place. If this becomes a living game, a game that has constant updates and it's multiplayer focused, then I think it could be very successful, granted if the base mechanics are balanced and solid enough. If the core multiplayer experience is fun to play and they keep the game updated, I think there's a path for this game to be successful and very fun. Even if the graphics keep looking like this and even if there's no single player experience there. Overwatch had the balls to release a multiplayer only first-person shooter with no type of story mode. It's the most requested feature, but the game is highly successful without one. Where games like Battlefield and Call of Duty have been releasing game after game for years, they know only like 10% or less of their player base touches the single player campaign, but they still don't have the balls to release a Call of Duty or a Battlefield without a single player campaign in it. In a way, that's how I look at this. Now, obviously, Naruto games, a lot of people play the single player portion of it, so they don't necessarily have those numbers to back it up, but it could still be be a very fun multiplayer experience. And if you think about it, I don't think any Naruto game in the past has dedicated itself to being a multiplayer focused game built from the ground up with no other distractions. So am I optimistic for Shinobi Striker? Not really. I mean, this developer hasn't given us anything to be hyped about. If you look at their previous works, I mean, I don't think Soleil Limited has ever worked on anything, and they're a subsidiary from Valhalla Studios, which haven't put out any good games, I think. But do I dismiss the game outright from the get-go? No, absolutely not. I do think there's a path for this game to be successful, and I hope they nail it. Why would I hope for a game to fail? I want to have fun with a Naruto game. I think you would like that too. But obviously my opinion is only one of many, so I would love to hear what your opinion is. Let me know in the comments below. Let's start the conversation, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you haven't watched the most wanted characters for Shinobi Striker yet, click this video right here. These are the top 10 most wanted characters. If you're in the mood for something else, you can always click right here. But as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye.